Hello everyone. Today I am covering another story from The Mill, a sci-fi horror thriller film called The Void. Warning, spoilers ahead. Enjoy. James flees from a farmhouse and escapes into the woods. A screaming woman tries to follow, but is wounded by a gunshot. Vincent grabs a gallon of gasoline from his car and hands it over to Simon. Still alive and lying on the ground, the woman is doused with gasoline. Vincent lights a cigarette and throws it at the woman, lighting her up in flames. As the two men leave, a mysterious hooded figure with a black triangle on his facial secretly watches them drive away. While on the radio, Daniel, a police officer, spots James coming out of the woods and collapsing. He walks to him and notices he's in bad condition. Daniel puts James in his car and they head to a nearby hospital as he tells the operator to notify them of their arrival ahead of time. Daniel carries James inside the hospital and two nurses, Allison, Daniel's ex-wife, and Beverly, put him on a stretcher and notify the doctor. In the waiting room, Daniel greets a pregnant woman, Maggie, and her grandfather Ben. They hear a commotion in another room where Dr. Richard Powell is injecting James with a sedative. Daniel heads over to see what is going on as James slowly falls asleep. As Daniel tries to get blood off of his shirt, Allison walks in and hands him a coffee. The two talk about how they've been when Dr. Powell walks in. Allison leaves and Dr. Powell stays to chat with Daniel. He tells Daniel to take it easy on Allison as it is hard for a woman who has just lost a child. He relates by saying that he also felt terrible when he lost his own daughter. Later that night, as Daniel roams the hospital, he enters a room where Beverly is standing over a patient. Daniel sees that she has plunged a pair of scissors into the man's eye socket. Beverly turns around, revealing the skin on her face has been ripped off. She tells Daniel that it isn't her face as she peels another chunk off. Daniel tells her to stop and she asks him if he could help her. As she is getting ready to attack him, Daniel fires his gun, killing her. Allison and her intern, Kim, hear the gunshot and rush to the room, horrified at what they see. Dr. Powell sees what's happened as well and Daniel heads to the restroom to throw up. He starts to feel dizzy and passes out. He has a vision of vast lands and pulsating organs when he is woken up by Dr. Powell. Daniel tries to get up and continue his work, but Allison and Dr. Powell tell him to take it easy. He is met with Sheriff Mitchell, who was called in for the murder. Daniel tells him how he got there so fast and the sheriff lets him know that they had a major bloodbath 20 miles north in relation to James. Sheriff Mitchell takes his gun and Daniel tells him if he could call the situation in, to which Mitchell agrees. Daniel heads outside to the police car and checks in, but the radio is out. Annoyed, Daniel turns off the radio and looks forward. He sees the hooded man with the black triangle and asks him what he's doing as he stands there motionless. Daniel suddenly hears a loud horn go off and the lights in the hospital go out. The cloaked man unsheathes a large dagger and attacks Daniel, knocking him to the ground. The cloaked man plunges the knife inches into Daniel's chest, but manages to throw him off. He gets up only to see a cult of people wearing the same cloak and black triangle gathering all around him. Daniel runs into the hospital where Allison and Dr. Powell tend to him. In the other room, a revolting spider-like creature forces itself into Beverly's mouth. Blood gushes out of Daniel's chest and Kim applies pressure. He briefly passes out and has the strange visions again. When he awakes, Daniel scrambles up and everyone is fixated on the cult that has surrounded the hospital. James suddenly screams from the other room. Mitchell and Daniel head to the scene and are shocked to see the horrid disfigured creature that Beverly has turned into creeping up on James. Mitchell shoots at the abomination and it growls loudly. Daniel breaks James free and they lock the creature in the room. The group hurries back to the lobby where they tell everyone they need to leave. At that moment, Vincent and Simon barge in the hospital with guns drawn at James. James quickly takes Maggie hostage and puts a surgical blade to her throat. Dr. Powell tries to talk James down into letting her go, but James freaks out and stabs him in the throat. While everyone argues, the creature creeps up on Mitchell and drags him away while Ben knocks James out and recovers Maggie. Daniel runs after Mitchell and the beast only to see it has sunken its tentacles into Mitchell's eyes and mouth, killing him. He then gets hit and thrown hard into the wall. Vincent and Simon follow as well and try to fight it. Simon goes in and swings his axe, but it gets caught. As the creature grows another head-like limb, Vincent reloads and shoots, wounding it. Vincent grabs Daniel's axe and both he and Simon hack away at the creature. Vincent sees its tentacles still moving into Mitchell and he proceeds to behead the sheriff, finally immobilizing the thing. They all move back into the lobby and once again Daniel tells everyone that they need to find a way out. Vincent comes in straight for James and Daniel stops him, saying that they need to get out first. Vincent strikes him with the axe and tells him that no one is leaving. As he is about to behead Daniel, Allison stops him. Simon moves in as well and calms him down. They come to a standstill and proceed to throw the creature outside in a burning cart. They all gather in another room as they try to plan a way out. Vincent tells them they are delusional as there is a cult surrounding them outside and calls Maggie a teenage slut. Allison loses it and slaps him. Daniel gets a hold of Allison and she tells him that Maggie and the baby are not doing well. She tells Daniel that she needs to head down to the med room and get the gear she needs to help Maggie, or she could lose the baby or die of shock. Daniel is hesitant, but comes to a plan of action and tells Allison to wait for him until he comes back so they can go together. He walks over to Vincent and Simon to tell them about a shotgun he has in his cruiser. The two men agree to help him get it, but remind Daniel that they will not risk their lives for him and that the gun is theirs. They head outside and see that the cult has retracted into the surrounding woods. Back in the room, Maggie is worried about her child and Allison tells her she'll be okay. She looks at her watch and realizes that time is running out, then decides to go to the med room herself without Daniel. As Allison looks through the medicine, Dr. Powell appears by the doorway. Outside, the three men scramble to get the supplies and the shotgun. The cult members start to emerge from the woods and Vincent signals for them to hurry up. At that moment, one of the cloaked men lunges at Simon from behind and Daniel blows him away with the shotgun. They make it back into the hospital and head back to the room. Daniel asks where Allison is and Kim tells him she left to the med room. Annoyed, Daniel tells Vincent to go with him and get her while Simon stays with the rest. On their way there, the two argue as Vincent insults his ex-wife. They notice a white bloody medical robe where Dr. Powell's body used to be and they hurry down. They get to the med room and Vincent starts loading up. Daniel then finds the plastic bag Allison was using on the floor. With no Allison in sight, they head down the hallway where they hear the phone ringing from Dr. Powell's office. They enter and Daniel picks it up. On the other end, Dr. Powell talks to him and tells him that he felt Daniel having the visions while tending to him earlier. Meanwhile, Vincent looks through his things and finds strange pictures of dismembered bodies and members of the cult outside. On the phone, Dr. Powell tells Daniel if he would like to know more about the visions he had. Angry, Daniel demands to know where Allison is. Dr. Powell tells him that he is going to help her and then help all of them. Daniel and Vincent head back to the others. Daniel hands Kim the bag of medication for Maggie and a radio so they can communicate while they go back down to find Allison. He also gives Ben a handgun and leaves an axe. As Daniel approaches Vincent and Simon to head out, Vincent shows him a picture of James that he found in Dr. Powell's office. The three go to James and slap him awake. They begin to threaten him with broken fingers if he doesn't talk about what he knows. Terrified, James tells them that the doctor is to blame and that he did them a favor by killing him. Daniel tells him that the doctor is alive and Simon hammers down on the metal bar, purposely missing James's finger. Terrified, James screams and tells them that he doesn't know anything. Daniel signals Simon to hammer his hand and James pleads for them to stop. He proceeds to tell them that he had followed a woman into a farmhouse for drugs, but encountered the doctor and his cult instead, where they saw them perform sacrifices and other rituals that change people. Daniel unbinds him from the metal rail and they bring James with them. As they head further down the hospital, Kim radios in and tells them that the morgue should be down the stairs at the end of the corridor. Daniel tells her that what she describes is far different than what they are seeing. They lose radio signal and the group heads down further. Deep in the hospital, Allison awakes immobile on an operating bed. Dr. Powell is in the room telling her how operating makes him feel a blissful release as he tears away skin from his hand. He asks Allison if she ever felt like she would give anything to save someone and then tells her that he was destroyed when his daughter died. Dr. Powell also mentions to her that it is amazing the things that one can find if they go looking. The group of men come across a room with strange symbols on the floor and James tells them that he's seen this place before. They continue on and land on a door with a strange black triangle. Daniel stares at it and blanks out, seeing the visions again in his mind. Back where Allison is strapped, Dr. Powell reveals to her what he's been working on. He tells her that he's discovered a way to bring souls back into bodies after they have passed. He continues on to say that there have been a lot of operations he's done that have gone bad, resulting in those horrid creatures. Dr. Powell lets her know that he's doing all of this to bring back his daughter. He turns and approaches Allison and the light reveals that his face has been torn off. He lifts the blanket from her stomach to reveal an abomination brewing inside of her. The men still roaming come across a room with decaying bodies. They hear a noise in the shadows and see a corpse repeatedly smashing its head against a steel rod. They hear the bodies around them begin to come alive. One of them grabs Daniel, but Simon manages to shoot it down. He keeps on shooting the incoming creatures when Vincent sees a woman holding a baby at the door. Without a word, Vincent heads to them. As they struggle, James jumps on Daniel and tries to choke him. Daniel is able to throw James and a creature grabs him and beats his head repeatedly on the floor. Above the hospital, Kim tries to deliver Maggie's baby. She has to perform a C-section, but is too frightened. They hear the front door open and Ben tells Kim to please help his granddaughter as he goes to deal with the cult. Crying, Kim tells him she can't and Ben's throat is suddenly cut open. As his body drops, Maggie is revealed holding the surgical blade. Horrified, Kim tells her what she's doing and Maggie tells her that it is almost time and that she is proud to be carrying Dr. Powell's child. The lights suddenly go out and a horn sounds off again, revealing two cloaked men right next to Kim. The cult members and Maggie walk out, sparing Kim. After they leave, Kim goes out into the hallway and sees a group of them behind the front door. Simon follows Vincent and ends up in what seems like their old home. He finds his father in a room whispering to himself. Vincent turns around and shouts at Simon that it is his fault. He attacks Simon and pins him to the ground, telling him that it is his fault his wife and child died. Simon lights a burner and pushes it into his father's ribs. Vincent recoils and Simon aims the shotgun at him, dismantling the illusion of being in their home. Daniel continues on down the corridor and finally finds Allison. He runs to her with joy and holds her hand, noticing her pregnant belly. Suddenly, the illusion breaks and Allison's hand turns to dust. He hears Dr. Powell's voice as the abomination Allison has turned into is revealed. Daniel tells the doctor what he has done and Powell tells him that he gave her what she wanted, to be a mother. Daniel sadly realizes what he must do. He grabs the axe and begins hacking away at her. Daniel turns to see a light triangle on the wall behind him. Dr. Powell asks him what he sees and Daniel tells him that he sees a monster trying to be God. Powell replies saying that he defies God and that there are things out there much older that have blessed him. He continues on saying that he understands death and he will have his daughter once again, but just needs one more thing. In that moment, Maggie stabs Daniel in the back. As he struggles, an unrecognizable Powell walks in from the corner, alien-like in appearance. Maggie kneels in submission to him and Powell tells her she did well. He proceeds to kneel in front of the triangle and starts chanting. The triangle opens to pure light and Maggie tells him to bless her child. Powell puts a hand on her head and she begins to have visions of the monstrous creature inside of her. She recoils in fear and her stomach starts to churn. The thing inside her finally bursts out of her and kills Maggie. As the gigantic beast heads for Daniel, Vincent and Simon show up and fire at it. Powell's monstrous daughter corners the two men in a room and latches its tentacles onto Vincent. Simon grabs a steel pole and rips the tentacle, giving Vincent a chance to shoot it in the face. From the blown-off chunk more tentacles emerge and dig into Vincent's chest. Knowing he will die, Vincent douses the beast and himself in flammable liquid. He signals to his son to light them on fire. With tears in his eyes, Simon flicks the burner and tosses it onto them, setting the two ablaze. Simon escapes through a vent inside the room back into the corridor. In the morgue, Daniel struggles to sit up and sees Powell start to dissolve into the light of the triangle. As he's about to go, Daniel swings the axe into his shoulder. Unfazed, Powell picks Daniel up by the throat and tells him that he could be with Allison again if he lets go of his life. Powell continues on to say that this isn't completely the end. Daniel tells him that it is the end and builds up enough strength to launch both himself and the doctor into the light. The triangle vanishes as soon as they go through. In the corridor, Simon suddenly sees the creature still alive and chasing after him. He sees the walls caving in and notices an exit into the hospital hallway. He makes its way to it with the walls closing in and manages to get out, while the creature is crushed to death. Simon makes his way back to the lobby room only to find Ben's butchered body. He creeps up to a closet door and opens it. Kim barges out with an axe ready to attack, but realizes it is Simon. They both hug each other as Simon assures her that it is over now. In the land of Daniel's visions, Allison and him look at a dark pyramid levitating in the sky. They both hold hands as they watch in awe.
Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed this story. Please consider giving us a like and subscribing. It would really help the channel out. Have an amazing day.